Perfection.
All right. I'm going camera off. You guys have a great show. Here we go in 3,
Awesome.
Thank you.
2, 1.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Witching Hour. My name is Patti Negri. I am psychic, medium, and good witch, and I am your host for this hour journey into the other worlds. You might know me from my regular appearances on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures or other TV shows, or from my book, Old World Magic for the Modern World, or some of my appearances, but this is my baby. This is the Witching Hour. What is the witching hour, you may say? Well, the witching hour is actually usually about 3 a.m. and it's the time when the veil between the worlds is the thinnest and magic can really happen. This witching hour is whenever you happen to be listening to the podcast, though, but still allow for that magic to happen. And what this witching hour is about is for me to shine a light on you and remind you of how amazing you are. How wonderful we human beings are, that we are these magical creatures. In working with people over the years, I found out how much we give our power away. We give our power away to other people. We give away our power to really limiting belief systems. We give away our power to fear all the time. So I'm just here to let's remind you that you're pretty amazing. And I'm bringing guests, the best in the world from everywhere in every walk of life, who are themselves have claimed their power and jumped into whatever it is they want to do. And today is no different. I am really honored to bring 2 fabulous guests together, good friends I've been getting to know. I would like to, and I'll tell you who they are. I want to introduce you to Shawn and Cody from The New Reality. And The New Reality, it's a paranormal group here in Southern California, and their whole mission is to prove or disprove any paranormal, supernatural, or anything in between. I do have to find out what that is. But welcome, Shawn and Cody. Hi.
Hello, hello. How are you, Patti?
I am well. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I've wanted you guys to for so long.
No, we're super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we've met you in the Omen House investigation, we're excited to talk with you.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring. That is where we met, David Omen's house, and probably many of the people, maybe not all people listening to this podcast know the David Omen house. That is a house here in the Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, that's very attached to the whole Sharon Tate murders, Manson family murders, and is, I don't know, what do you say, one of the most haunted houses in the area? What's your guys' take on that?
It's definitely haunted for sure. Every time we went there, stuff's happened and it's been insane.
Yeah, and definitely there's always an aftermath. There's always really working on clearing. There's great stories about that place, but I honestly think it brings out the deeper in you, honestly.
It brings out your emotions, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like every time we go there, something that's been bothering me just amplifies, and then I'm forced to deal with it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And I want to talk about the land, because the land, we talked about this in the past. The land there's something about it. It's really native based, and I just think that because of all that's happened, it's only amplified. Yeah, again, goes back to the emotions.
Right.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, because I remember the first time I went there, whenever that was, I'm like, I don't know about this. It's not really this. And it was like you walk in and go, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was wrong. And you get real voices. I think even when we did that first investigation, which was actually just before we all stopped seeing each other. Literally was the days we were like, do we get together with these people for the last time? Who knew it would be for this long? Right. But you guys were like the last people I saw before quarantine.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Shawn and I, we just kept trucking along trying to go to these investigations. We're trying not to have anything stop us. We're just trying full speed ahead, you know?
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, you know, even that investigation, there was a concern that, you know, oh my gosh, there's this COVID thing, and should we wear masks? I'm glad that it became more relaxed and we weren't really concerned about it. So we really just was able to get into the investigation, which I wanted to do, and we all wanted to do.
No, it was great. I mean, I am getting used to wearing lots of masks. We are for anybody to know, we are actually taping this in the beginning of September. But when you guys are hearing this for the first time is the day before Halloween, the day before Samhain. So Happy Halloween, everybody. And also, boy, now this is the time in my cosmology, my whole pagan side, what you guys know as well, the veil really is the thinnest right now. So this is the time that, that I love to do seances. I love to do investigations. So, oh, it'd be fun to be at the Omen House right now.
Wow, right?
I think.
So let's ask about your house, because we know that house to be haunted, and we're going to investigate that place
Real
at one
soon,
point, right?
real soon.
Yes, I do. I have a good haunted house, because that's funny. My gig, because yes, when I'm in Ghost Adventures or other TV shows, they don't want to go to the happy haunted houses where the lovely ghosts hang out. That's why I like the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. There's a lot of really happy, fun ghosts there. The Hollywood Athletic Club, even the American Legion Hall. Yes, they've had things that have happened, but it's not like you're getting the serial killer ghosts or the murderers. You're getting party people and celebrities, and they're great. But my house, I live in a little 1920s bungalow in the Hollywood Hills, and it came with this beautiful French spirit who had owned the house from the 1960s till she died in 1998. And my husband and I moved in, or we renovated the whole thing in 2001, and it came complete with this beautiful French artist ghost. And the house is almost like a shrine to her, because in the basement was all her artwork. So her artwork is still all over the house. The pottery she made, her fine art paintings, the tie-dye she did in the 60s. So this is Adrienne's little house. She's really protective. She's really funny. If she gets mad at us, she does things like takes pictures out of frames, literally. Even my husband, who's still skeptical, doesn't get this world. Is like, this doesn't make sense. It's duct taped closed. Like, yeah.
Well, that's really what we want to capture. Capture something like that happening, because again, we want to prove to everybody that paranormal is real. So good or bad, if they want to communicate, great, so that we can get that captured and really show everybody that this is real. This isn't fake. This is really happening.
Yeah, and that's what, again, me being old school and a not technical girl, I've been doing this with my whole life with a set of dowsing rods, and then my own psychic and medium ability is about as technical as I ever got. But then when I work with like you guys with all the equipment or on the TV stuff, and all of a sudden there's a box that's talking and saying what I just heard, or the little SLS camera, where I just explained, okay, this ghost is doing the hula, and then you guys look over on the camera and the ghost is doing the hula. And a lot of ghosts do seem to do hula.
Well, yeah, like the SLS will like show this, like, hey, are you waving? And next thing you know, there's this with the SLS, there's something saying hello.
No,
that's awesome.
I really did play Simon Says with the spirit ones on my dining room table. We were doing a seance. And I literally go, raise your right hand, and you raise the right hand. I go, raise your left hand, raise your left hand. So we were playing Simon Says on my dining room table.
And that's what's amazing is that's what Shawn and I love is the equipment that we have. It's able to validate what we're feeling,
right?
Especially, when Shawn goes into his mediumship as well, Patti,
yeah.
Like he's painting a picture, and then we're able to capture that, not only what he's feeling, but on the actual equipment as well.
Yeah, and again, yeah, the validation of it, getting a feeling and understanding a feeling, and we've had just in the last month and a half, we've had some really, really good investigations where we brought in our abilities and our equipment validated those
That's
actual
good.
feelings.
So tell me, what are some of the places you've done recently?
Oh, so recently we took a trip up to Nevada. And this trip blew us away, Shawn, right? This is probably the craziest experiences that we've ever had during a paranormal investigation. Like it was absolutely phenomenal. I guess I can talk about the first place we went to, right? The first place we went to was just an abandoned house. It's actually called the Truckee River Murder House. And so we go inside this house, and we're with our good buddy Patrick from the Haunted Side.
Yeah.
And so he took us out there, and we're doing our thing, and all of a sudden we're setting up, and something, and I say something, throws a damn rock at us.
Yeah.
And it hits the side of the wall, and I'm like, what was that?
What was that? I think that was all of our question, but what the F was that?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy. And that place, again, there was a lot of activity in the basement. Again, this place is just abandoned. Working with Patrick from the Haunted Side, we went on our little trip, and the places we stopped at didn't work out, and we called up Patrick, and he really helped us out. So
yeah,
Yeah, going there, that was the first place. But we also went, what was it?
The Clean Water Demon House, which is, yeah, right. I know it's phenomenal. We had rocks thrown at us there too. And what's crazy is I've never ever experienced this during a paranormal investigation, but at that specific location, we smelt the smell of chocolate chip cookies.
It was inside an abandoned house that had 5 people murdered in it.
Yeah, and it was miles away from anything, and and it was strong. Like like how, Patti, I'm sure you've smelled this before, but on investigation you smell like perfume or flowers or alcohol. This was so this was like super intense, and it was during a sensory deprivation, and we started smelling these cookies, and I'm like, bro, what is this?
It was ridiculous because we're all going, what's going on with the cookies? Like, it just right out of the oven, what's with the cookies? And again, I just went over that evidence, and there was disembodied voices, woman, man, just a lot of different things going on in that location as well.
Right.
We're just going over the evidence right now.
That is great. So, and we'll do this again towards the end of the show, but you guys have a YouTube page. People can go check out some of this stuff, right? What's your YouTube page?
We do. Absolutely. Just go to The New Reality Paranormal. If you guys go to youtube.com, type in The New Reality Paranormal, you'll find us on there.
Hey, lots of
The
good
New
stuff.
Reality.
Hey. And I love your name, by the way. Actually, for the first time got rocks too. It was back at the David Oman's house. And it was just a couple weeks before we just did a big weekend thing. You guys were there the night before we were there, I think.
Yes.
But we had been there just before that. And we were in that dirt basement. It's always the dirt basement.
That dirt basement.
I mean, anywhere you go, whether it's the Black Dahlia house or the receipt, but again, we were in David Oman's, and we said literally throw a rock if you do, and it did it about 4 times. He caught it on all David's endless cameras as well as the other stuff. So I guess spirits have taken up to rock throwing. So I'm sort of liking the chocolate chip cookie idea.
Oh, it definitely, I was hungry.
Yeah, I was like, the whole time we're investigating, I'm going, man, just to have a bite out of those warm chocolate chip cookies.
Well, what's weird about that was when we started to smell that smell, that's when activity started to amp up. So it was strange. It was like, here's some cookies. I'm gonna throw rocks at you.
Yeah, right. Like we literally, so we did the sound deprivation, and Cody says, or watch out, or get away from the window, something in that regards. Again, he can't hear nothing. And as soon as he said step away, I think it was step away from the window.
Right.
As soon as he said that, we stepped away from the window, and then we heard the rock go through the window and land in the room. It was perfect. It's going to be a great YouTube just because of how just everything was right on key.
Right.
That's amazing. What do you think? Have you had anything that really scared you, give you a good scare? What is your scariest experience?
Okay. So my scariest experience had to be, it's not really scary. I can't, we don't really get scared. We're kind of weird.
Yeah.
I get that because you're trained, and we're going to talk about protection techniques.
Definitely startling, I guess you can say, was being, what is it, Shawn? Zapped?
Yeah. He definitely got zapped.
Zapped in Tombstone, Arizona. We were doing a place called Big Nose Kate's. We actually just released this video. You guys can check this out on our YouTube. But I was sitting back doing a sensory deprivation, sitting back against this cage where a known spirit is very prominent.
Yeah, hoarding silver.
Right. So we're down there kind of poking at him, and then not even a minute into the sensory deprivation, like this spirit or this man, whatever you want to call him, gave me a jolt to my back. And I say a jolt because it felt like I was tased. That's the only explanation. Yeah. And it was for a good 3 seconds. It definitely hurt. Well, what's crazy is we lifted up the back of my shirt, and there was this red line across my back. It was nuts.
It was crazy. So if you watch the video, I was caught off guard by that. But I kept I was a little trooper, and I had the video, and I was going, I was explaining what happened because we went live. We were live streaming when it all happened. At the whole time, I'm going, fuck, I need to do something here because whatever this thing is attacking him. So after the zap happened, we actually went into the bathroom to look at this big, huge red mark across his back. As we're looking at it, we see something push its hand against his back, pushed in his back.
Oh,
and I instantly went, oh my God, I need to do something because the thing was trying to damage more, right?
Right.
So we went into this mode, and I went into a mode, and I think I cleared it right away, but it seemed like the redness went away, but the soreness was still there.
Right. No, and that's all. We have that all on video too. You can actually see the hand imprint on my back.
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced as far as like getting touched by a spirit or something in that order.
Yeah, it was crazy to experience, knowing that it really happened. It was
right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I've never got the scratches or the red marks, but I was pushed into a chair where I ripped all the cartilage off my floating ribs. Had to go to emergency. It was like,
that's crazy.
okay.
That's a negative one, huh?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was on my last radio show before the Witching Hour, and I had one, and we were kind of unsolved crimes based and seance based. So we would go much darker than I do on this show. And I was stumped for a minute. I didn't follow my own rules of really setting up my space, calling in my protectors. I got lazy for 1 minute because I was just with my then producer. She's dead now. Sorry, cute. No, she's not. But again, I got lazy for a second, and we were calling in this darker spirit to see this thing happen. And all of a sudden, boom, just so push. I heard this crack, crack, crack. And I really thought my ribs had broken. I'm sliding down to the floor, and she's going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." And I really always say I'm okay. If I could have my arm cut up, I'm fine. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like us. Well, you go into any room, it doesn't matter. It's just
any room. We'll go in any room. Let's go.
Hi, demons.
And Patti, I kind of want to
be careful. You do have to be careful. I'm sure you guys have protection techniques that you guys do. I mean, there's a million good ones.
Absolutely. And that's actually I was just gonna say that, like, Shawn and I have been going into so many places lately. We've been for lack of a better term, complacent, and we've been so exhausted. We've been doing these investigations, and it's taking a toll on us because we're not practicing our fundamentals that we preach to everybody.
Yeah. We're bringing things home. Yeah. And really, again, there's a process, even that you have to consistently work in the home with sage, palisandro, your crystals, whatever your practices are. When you do that and you make the mistake of being complacent, you have to be consistent and persistent. Right?
And Patti, I know you asked us what do we do as far as protections or whatnot. Shawn and I, we have a very solid foundation for protection when we use it.
I know. We all go there. It's like,
So before we go into an investigation, we always do a prayer, and we always bring in Archangel Michael. That's Shawn and I's protector, if you will. We've been using him forever, right, Shawn?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been in our lives even before we decided to do the paranormal thing. It's just been very natural in our space.
Yeah, so we bring in Archangel Michael. We have him bless us or whoever's with us, and we go in and have a great time. We also use white light. White light is very, very I can't even think of the right word. It's so powerful, and I'm sure you can contest to this, Patti, as well. But using white light is a very, very good tool as far as protection.
Right. But sometimes you bring that in, it doesn't allow the experience to happen. So yeah, we try to ask for that balance, right?
Right. I do the same thing because white light, it's pure divinity. It's pure source. It's pure light. Whatever words you happen to use. Because to me, the belief systems you're using, the words you're using, is it God? Is it Jesus? Is it Christ light? Is it Archangel Michael? Is it the dragon breath? Is it whatever it is? If you go all the way to the top in the pure white light, that's pure divinity. You bring that light into a room, you bring a candle into your room, you've lit it up. You light it up. You see those dark, scary shadows, but you bring it in. So I'm the same way with that.
And they're attracted, right? They get attracted to that light as well.
Exactly, of course, because there comes the shadows. So we do have to be extra careful. And again, we do have to be lazy. So anybody who's thinking of getting into this, so say somebody is going, I want to be one of those ghost hosts. I want to be paranormal. Do you have suggestions for people? Like, not just like find the scariest haunted house. People work with a group already.
Going to like my most scariest, and I don't want to even say scariest, but my most prominent situation, which was just maybe 3 weeks ago, I saw a full-blown shadow figure walk right past me. He wanted me to see him. But I knew it wanted me to see him, but I knew that it was an experience I was supposed to have. I think with somebody that's new, going back to your question, when you have somebody that's new, you really shouldn't go without knowing. You need to bring somebody that has experience, especially right now. You saying that the veil's thinning, I think it's thinning more just because of where the world is. Let's as we go into closer to October, it's even going to get worse. But
Right.
I think it's very important for people that are just really looking for the experience to be with somebody that has experience, because it's not something you should play with unless you understand what you're doing.
100%.
I wholeheartedly, I agree. And yes, I think the veil is thinning just the whole world. I think literally it's as we're moving into that age of Aquarius they sang about in the 60s, where it's not our parents' world of black and white, yes and no, solid ground. It's not. The veil is thinning. The veil is thinning as we just go into the next realm. So more and more stuff is going to happen. And aren't you even noticing your mediumship getting stronger?
Yes. Well, I really don't want to bring this up, but I did recently just get laid off. But it was very clear when it happened that Spirit was like, guess what? You're supposed to be working towards who you truly are. Right after that all happened, so many different things have kind of knocked me into the mediumship side of things. I've had a really strong mediumship, but now I'm actually going to try to start promoting myself.
Beautiful.
And I want to kind of go off what you're saying, Shawn. So before we started this whole paranormal thing, for everybody listening, and even you, Patti, I don't think you know this, but Shawn and I, we met through my uncle, and we went on like this spiritual journey together. We went to Sedona, Arizona, which is a crazy spiritual place. It's awesome. I got attuned to Reiki there. It's just a phenomenal place, and
supernatural.
Right. Yeah. Supernatural. And so we were doing our thing, just really studying, doing meditations, and really just trying to grow spiritually. Right, Shawn?
Yeah.
And then you started noticing these abilities that started to pop up. I mean, obviously they were there before, but you really started to pay attention.
Well, it was like a knocking on the door, like,
right.
Hey, there's this potential, and I had to pay attention to it.
Right. And then you brought that into the paranormal. And that's even ever since we started the paranormal, like it's been just a domino effect, one after the other. It's spirituality and the paranormal kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. And Cody being in the line of work he is, again, investigating. It's really looking at all of the facts and coming into their own. Cody, again, he's very sensitive. He's very intuitive. He does have a lot of abilities. And again, he doesn't want to claim them yet because he wants to be confident with them. And I understand, because it took me years to feel confident about mine. But, together there's just this blending that you really, it's a genuine brotherhood. We understand each other's energy. We understand how we work, and we blend well when we go into a location. It's just phenomenal.
Right. And that's pretty obvious for anybody meets you and sees how you work together. So that's why I went, oh wow, these guys, besides that they're good and they're professional, the way you work together, it's a really nice fit.
Thank you. We appreciate that. That's what we strive for, honestly, like that. And that's why we love that it's just us two doing an investigation, because it for one, there's less people, there's less noise contamination. And Shawn and I I know him like the back of my hand, so we know what each other's thinking, and we know how we're going to set up and whatnot.
And our goals really are to communicate with Spirit and to be able to get words and having the equipment to do that. So when we do the sound canceling headset, sound,
the sensory deprivation.
Yeah, the sensory deprivation. Am I wearing the headset, or if Cody's wearing the headset, there's so many, there's a blending of Spirit that's there and asking and answering questions. I ask a question because I'm feeling it. Cody answers it. So he's connecting with Spirit as much as I am. So there's this teamwork, and Spirit feels comfortable. We go in with a very beautiful energy. We go in very receptive. Hey, what's your story? Talk to us. And a lot of times you get responses from that. And the place, if it's an active location, it's even more active when we walk into the place.
Right.
So what would be your number one rule or suggestion for somebody getting into this?
Never go alone. Right. That would probably be my number one rule. I know there's people who do that. I've done it. I'm sure Shawn's done it, but it's very important to bring somebody with you. And I can't stress that enough. Like the spirits, especially bad spirits, they like to kind of make themselves bigger than they really are. And for somebody just going in by himself, it can really be overwhelming. Right. So it's very good to have somebody with you that can help you out. And it's a blending of energy, even if you don't have such a strong brotherhood like Shawn and I do. It's still a blending of energy going in and dealing with whatever you're dealing with.
And my side of things, I agree 100%. I think it's very important to have someone with you that understands what they're doing. And at the same time, like study, like know that what could happen when you walk into a place. And, listen to some of these YouTubes, watch the new reality and some of what they do and how they go into it. Look at the haunted side and see how they go into a location and just know that you have to own your power. Go in and just own your power. Who are you? Are you a Jesus Christ follower? Are you a God follower? Are you a Buddha follower? Whoever you may be, empower that and bring that in and own it. And if you do feel like something's happening that doesn't feel comfortable, well, revert back to your belief and know that it's there protecting you, right?
100%.
That's what I always say. Know who you're going to call when something goes wrong.
Right.
What you going to call? Not just like, I got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I agree. I never go alone. I don't go alone. And my number one, if there was one word, it's respect. Respect for what you're doing. Respect for the spirits. Because when I've seen anybody get in trouble, they lacked respect. Both for the power of the spirits themselves.
Well, especially like there's time I've seen people go into a location and they think they know what they're hot, the new hot stuff, right? And they go in and they get their ass handed to them because what they're dealing with, they don't understand and they don't have respect. So what you were saying, Patti.
Yeah, when you ask them, because I'm remembering a YouTube I watched. When you're asking a negative spirit to show me a sign, scratch me or something, that's ridiculous. You don't want to do that because you're inviting that spirit into you, which isn't going to be a pleasant outcome, right?
No,
it's not a good outcome.
Right. You
respect, 100%. Respect.
Not good. Okay, so you guys explore everything: ghosts, spirits, other worlds. What's your thoughts on extraterrestrials, space aliens? Have you guys ever experienced?
Yeah, actually. Shawn, you want to go into East City Ranch?
Oh, okay. City Ranch, Washington. All my life, even my mom had a story of like one day she lived in Colorado, looked out her back patio and there were several lights dancing around and then all of a sudden they split off and disappeared. I went with actually Cody's uncle. I'll make a long story short. To this location called East City Ranch, and the place said they had UFOs and all these fairies and all these crazy things. And this was really new in my development, so I was just meditating at this point. And I'm like, well, let's go. So we went on this road trip, went out to Washington. This woman, we walk into the place, we're getting ready to, we're camping on the property. The woman shows us around and she's like, yeah, off to the right are where the fairies hang out. And I'm like looking around like, are you kidding me? So, off to the left, there's a vortex. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You're out of your mind. Off to the left, there's a vortex. And if you look at Mount Adams, you see UFOs coming out of them. I'm shaking my head inside. I'm going, this woman's out of her mind. As we walk out, she goes back into the office and I look at Cody's uncle, Tim, and I'm like, she's batshit crazy. Again, just not aware, right? So we head over to the man-made lake they had on the property, and he's kind of on the other side of the lake, and all of a sudden I see this flash of light right in front of me, and I had my camera up. I'm looking at it. It's on my camera. I'm seeing it, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm seeing. It gets bigger and bigger. It gets to about 4 inches or about 4 foot in diameter, and it's starting to become a figure of a person. And I'm screaming for his uncle, dude, do you see this? He's like, no. He comes running. As it's getting smaller, he sees it over my shoulder. I took a picture of it. It had a body and wings. I don't know if it was a fairy, but I was like, holy crap. Like everything that I thought I believed no longer exists.
Throw it out the door.
Yeah, done. Right after that, I'm like, I'm an open book at this point. Went over to the vortex, started meditating next to Tim, Cody's uncle. And all of a sudden, something told me to open my eyes. I look at Mount Adams, and I see a gray speck pop out of the side of the mountain. It happened like 5 times. Yeah. And finally, after the 3rd time, I nudged Tim, and I'm like, dude, look at the mountain. He goes, what's that gray speck? thank God you're not the only one, not the only one that saw it. And he watched it disappear. So, and then that night there was all this activity up in the sky. There was ships coming out of Mount Adams. It was phenomenal. Craziest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, and it feels very different than ghosts. If
100%.
Spirits, anything from our world, or either the elemental realm, the angelic realm, the demonic realm, the just plain old ghost realm, it feels different. I think I used to hang with them when I was a kid because I always saw spirits, and some of them I think they weren't regular ghosts. But I've done a couple seances that were one of my teachers, mentors, Maximilian de Lafayette. He's an expert on like Anunnaki. He speaks ancient Sumerian, which is like Anunnaki. And he gave me all these exact words and very sigils and symbols and sacred geometry. And we did this thing. Once I did it with one girl, an actress, a known actress. And all of a sudden in my deep backyard, there's this whole other thing. It's like, hello, oh, you're not a ghost. You're not a okay. And then we did it again, and there was like, we should do it with us, like 6 or 8 all gifted people and mediums, and we turned it into a grid. It was like body movements, sounds, energy came out. Then it was like the craziest thing ever, because I've never looked that much into the whole ET thing, because I've always thought those ET people were a little crazy, which is crazy for, again, like me to say, somebody who talks to dead people since I was 3. I'm a witch. I hang with vampires, and I'm calling anybody crazy. I have no right to do that. But I guess they're not crazy. I just couldn't get past the tinfoil.
Well,
out there,
and like you said, Patti, like you said, it feels different, right? And I think you're 100% correct. But they operate on a different frequency. And I think that's the reason being, right? Spirits or ghosts, whatever you want to call them, they operate on a different frequency, whereas ETs and whatnot are very high up there.
Dimensional,
right.
Definitely dimensional.
Yeah.
And there was another situation in Sedona. Like, we've had several UFO experiences together and a separate.
I think I might as well just tell it real quick.
Tell the story.
Yeah. So I think I was about, I'd say 16 or 17 years old. And I had this dream, so I thought it was a dream. I don't know. But I woke up screaming my head off, like just freaking out. And just in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., witching hour. And, I wake up and I remember walking to my door, still screaming. And I had the door where you had to pull it. You had to turn the knob and then pull it to walk out. Well, all I remember doing was putting both of my hands on the door, like slamming my hands on it. And then instantly I was next to my parents' bed. Wow. And I was on the floor and I was saying, "Don't let them take me." And the reason why I remember this so vividly is my dad told me the next day, he's like, "This is what you did." And it was weird. I remember walking back down the hallway back to my room and my door was still shut. Like, it wasn't open.
So, Patti, what you just reacted, it was exactly when he first told me that, I was like, that is, goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
You can probably see them on camera.
Yeah, I want to say phenomenal, but in extraterrestrial. Again, I think something happened there, and I think something happened there.
It definitely startled me. And then ever since then, like, I've talked to psychic mediums, I've had readings, I've had all this. Nobody can really tell me what it was. I've had people say it was, it was like what did Raymond say, Shawn? He said some sort of like a meeting, some sort of meeting or something like that, to where they wanted to bring, and I know this is going to sound bizarre, but where they wanted to bring me aboard their ship. And I'm like, dude, I can't, it doesn't make sense to me as far as that. I don't know what it was, but it was nuts.
So again, this happened very young, right? And all of a sudden he continues to see UFOs all the time. And it's just like, okay, so what I felt right away, and again, I felt there was an abduction that was trying to happen there, because it's familiar. He understands it, and I don't even want to go there because it's kind of a little bit strange, but I honestly believe that he's working with other beings. That's why the Archangel Michael is so strong in his energy, because there's a protection there. Multidimensional, even when we started doing the meditations, there was a woman I knew, and I was getting dreams, and she would have dreams that were corresponding with the dreams I was having. seeing UFOs, and she's being inside of the craft. I just think when you're in mediumship and there's a deeper understanding, I think it's easier to communicate with these things that are multidimensional or are not from this planet.
Right.
And I think that if you're open to communicate, I think those things can happen.
Yeah, I think so. And who's to say what's different and what all these different dimensions, and again, as the veil thins. And also it seems like science and spirituality are getting closer and closer together, getting into the quantum sciences and stuff.
100%.
They're going to be just this all down to energy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had a dear friend who had the best experience of anybody. Because there was 10 people. They were camping on Catalina Island, which is a little island off Los Angeles. It's like 26 miles out. It's got a little resort town, but there's a place that you can camp that you have to like hike to. You take a car, then you hike, and it's above cloud cover, and it's nowhere near anybody else. Let's go camping. I know let's go camping.
I was gonna say, I want to go there.
Yeah, and you have to watch out for the wild pigs. But they went, and 3 ships came down. All this crazy stuff that you hear about, actually, none of their flashlights would work. None of their cell phones would work. All the girls started their menstrual cycle. They all had a blackout period. Some have gone back and done like past life, I mean, not past life, but going into hypnosis and regression and saw being on a ship. All their lives very much changed, some for the better. There's 2 very famous movie people and some not for the better, but there was such a shift in them. Catalina Island, let's go camping.
So yeah, let's go.
Supernatural and everything in between.
And then they actually called the authorities when they got back. I don't know who you call, FBI, police, I don't know who you call, but they called the authorities. And the authorities were like, oh yeah, you saw it off the coast of Long Beach on Island. They're like, yeah, no, you didn't do it. Well, yeah, you think you saw 3 ships? Like, yeah, no, you didn't. It was almost like a comedy routine.
So
of the government people knew exactly what they were talking about.
So it was so extreme that they actually called the police. That's crazy.
Yes,
they called the police.
That they actually called. And again, all the equipment didn't go. There was no photos. There was nothing was doable from it. Even flashlights went dead.
So Patti, when are we going?
I know. I got a sleeping bag.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm looking at, we got a tent.
You know what you're getting in for again, and you use your right protections and you use your right everything. What an experience. It's, even the government saying they're out there now. So,
oh yeah.
So absolutely. They must be real now that the government says they're real. sorry.
No, it's, yeah, they're out there for sure. There's you have to be super naive to believe that we're the only people out here, or we're the only beings out here, if you will.
Yeah. Which would be scary in this endless universe of endless amounts of planets. Wow. If we were the only ones that developed, how weird would that be?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what about the, what was it? The
Bigfoot? Yes, he's real.
Bigfoot's real. But remember we investigated the Fort
MacArthur?
Yeah, Fort MacArthur. So that place was the Battle of LA, right? So they saw this UFO. There was this shooting going on. We actually investigated that place.
Yeah.
It is haunted.
Oh, it was nuts.
Haunted.
Yeah, that place is crazy. We've caught still to this day, one of the most phenomenal UVPs we've ever caught. And it was a little girl. We were outside and everybody heard it. And we also caught it on our recorders. It said, what did it said? Was it you found me or what did you tell me to do?
Yes, I think it was, what did you tell me to do?
Yeah, so we were doing an EVP outside, and this little girl, creepy little girl too, like it was almost like it was materialized or robotic or something. But she said, what did you tell me to do? And everybody stopped. They're like, what was that?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Same location. There was this tunnel. I went down to the at the end of it while the other guys were at the other end. And I asked, if something was here, would you let me know by knocking? All of a sudden I hear a knock right next to my ear responding. And then I started asking questions. Ended up being a military guy, but it was like responding to everything. Again, what is it about the UFO sighting and that the haunting is
very amplified?
It's very amplified.
Well, it's crazy, Patti. There's this place. Have you ever been to Fort MacArthur? Okay, so it's like a crazy bunker, right? This place is huge, and you go underneath, and you go through these tunnels and all this stuff, right? Well, there's this one spot, and this is very early in our investigative days. There's this one spot that's a very dark tunnel, and everybody doesn't want to go there. And I swear something's wrong with Shawn and I. I know there is, but we go down there, and we're like, well, we'll go in there. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we walk in this tunnel, and again, it wasn't like a normal, like, oh, this place is like oppressive or depressing. It was almost like something very traumatic happened there, and you can feel it. Like it was physically on you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You walked into this heaviness, and it was a gunner pad.
Right.
So I maybe somebody got shot, somebody got killed, or I got right away that it was something. It was a wrongdoing, but it was very, like, I look back at it now, but I didn't know then. I was still learning. But
right,
you walked in there and you felt like I was done wrong, and it was very just heavy, very heavy.
Yeah, no, you can feel when something has really happened. I've got the Black Dahlia house, again, for a very famous house everybody knows about. You walk in there, it oozes. And I've been a few places, especially when there's been bad drug use around, that seems to bring in a whole darker energy, and vortexes get open, but you can really feel it. I do want to let everybody know that in case you hear weird things like my cat that was just making otherworldly sounds a few minutes back, we are social distancing right now. This is usually a studio show. We'd all be on a little sofa together, but instead we are the Brady Bunch meets the Matrix, talking little heads, as been our world for many months now. So I want to thank everybody. If you hear little foibles like me coughing, which I did, or my cat screaming, dogs barking, just thanks for putting up with us. We are still just pretending to all be on the same sofa right now. And many of you are listening to Dash Radio. So you can download the app. There's 80 great commercial-free stations. So listen to us on dashradio.com. And also 1 week later, we moved to Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and all the places you can find podcasts for listen on demand. So again, I want to keep bringing in, I want to thank my guests. We're not done. I'm just doing a midway thing because I don't take commercials because we're on.
Absolutely.
We are talking to Shawn and Cody from the New Reality, a very amazing paranormal group team that you guys sort of seem to do a lot of investigations for 2 guys. You guys get out about a lot.
Oh yeah, we definitely just, when we shouldn't be investigating, we're investigating. Yeah. Like we have so much evidence to go over, and we're like, yeah, sure, let's go, do another 6-hour investigation. Why not? Let's just do it.
Yeah, we've been on multiple marathons. We went out to, again, Virginia City. We had 4, 5 nights in a row where we just one night after another, just one night after another. And normally you get this, who called it a paranormal hangover the following day?
Patrick did.
Yeah, you get really drained, right? Well, guess what? We're going to pull up our big boy pants and we're going to do another one tonight and the following night. And
energy drinks become your best friend.
Yeah. We did that in Tombstone too.
Yeah, and Virginia City, I've got a thing about Old Cowboy. I've done the Virginia City Paracon twice. I've done Nevada City. I've done Butte, Montana. Me and Old Cowboys and miners hang. And there's something about those tunnels under the ground that I think also vibrates the energy. And
100%.
Such strong energies. People that go to places like that, just like the strong personalities that come to Hollywood and LA, the ones who went to find their fortune in Virginia City and Nevada City, and are big personalities. So, big in life, big in death, and so they are. So what was you guys' experience in Virginia City? It's a wild place. Yeah.
It's super wild. Shawn and I were blown away. Just going into the city alone was definitely a different feeling than Tombstone, right, Shawn?
Stepping back, right?
It's almost like we stepped back in time, and you can feel, like you just said, Patti, something charges that place. You can feel it. As soon as you go in there, you go up that mountain and you go into the city, it's just radiating, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree, because it seems like you got just normal people every day like you and I, and the ones that passed are still walking those streets. It's real easy to just feel like that's so busy on every level. Like it continues to move, and everybody is driven by the silver and gold in the town.
And that place is super haunted. Let me tell you, we did like an hour tops of Mackey Mansion.
Yep.
right?
Stupid.
The Mech, I don't know if anybody's ever been there. That place is phenomenal. We got a chance to really investigate that place, and it was only for an hour, but we caught so much activity there. It was nuts.
And they invited us back when we go back when we have the time to really just dig deep into that place.
Right.
And it was just really the hour and a half we did have there. It was just, we caught a lot of stuff. It was really eye-opening.
Yeah, I was just there a couple weeks ago. It's great, and it's this beautiful old house too. But see, I think that gold and silver has something to do with it. Besides the tunnels, whenever I've been to those old miner, I think just the energy of the metals, the gold, the silver, the copper, amplifies. I think it really, really does amplify. Even at Virginia City, actually the son of the girl who runs it, Dawn, he brought me, it looked like a rock, and it was an amethyst crystal. You just pick them up on the mountains there.
Yeah.
So if you figure out, we all use crystals for different things. If your mountain's made out of crystals and then things that are conduits like copper and gold and silver, you're sitting on a generator.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason why, just like Tombstone, Sedona, Nevada, Virginia City, there's a reason why lightning strikes all the time at those places. It's because it's a conduit, like you just said.
Yeah, it's a conduit, 100%. The metals are very good conduits, right?
Yeah.
They use them for electronics, of course, and the crystals, right? They have this amplifying property of them, and you combine them, you're going to get paranormal activity. You're just going to get it.
For sure.
Every place we went into, that, what was it? A Silver Queen Hotel. We were just staying there. We didn't really even investigate it, put a camera up, and that place is known to have the prostitute that killed herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed in that room.
Yeah.
And we put a camera up on the desk, and we went to go investigate the town with Patrick. And then going over the evidence, we caught nothing crazy, but we put a K2 by the bathtub. And didn't you say you saw orbs, right?
Yeah, light anomalies, orbs just shooting like past it. No one's in the room. So yeah, you could call it dust, but then...
And then the K2 went off right after, like somebody was getting into the bathtub. So it substantiated the claim there.
Yeah, it went off for like 6 minutes.
And then turned off.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
No more light anomalies right after. It was really a strange...
Yeah, that place, I love that place. And it's like, you look like you're living in an old Western town. If the cars were gone, you're like on a movie set in my world. But I just did, at this last Virginia City, I did actually 2 nights in a row, I did seances at the suicide table, which was pretty cool. We're like 3 or 4 owners who had been there committed suicide. So the energy is pretty great.
What experiences? Can you share? Or?
Oh yeah, yes,
we're going back.
You have to really control it. There's so many ghosts and spirits there. It's like you stand, and the way I do seances, if it's not, on TV and you got to talk to just the murderers there. Yes, we wanted to talk to the miners and the cowboys and the ladies of the night who work there. But I also want everybody sitting at my seance, these were like 50 people each, to talk to their beloved loved ones, because people always do. Yeah, you want to talk to the guy who was hung in the corner, but you want to talk to grandma too. Yeah. So I'm like literally lining up the ghosts and spirits and Stefan Brigetti. So there's a lot of paranormal. So we had my old school Victorian style, spiritualist style seance with all this equipment. And we'd name names, taken numbers all the way. Both, yes, the old miner guys, I think an owner of the place was definitively there. But otherwise, we just talked to regular people. But just
awesome.
Everything was heightened because the veil is so thin there. You go there for it. It's a room filled with people who believe, people who want to believe, nice. People who are open to it. And you just get it.
So we're supposed to go back to Tombstone. They invited us back. We made some friends with some Freemasons out there. And man, we'll contact you. Maybe it's something you might be interested in,
yes,
but like
I want to go.
Like Big Nose Kate's, we just released amazing activity there. The whole town's very active.
Right.
I haven't done much. I was supposed to do Vulture City Paracon, but it got canceled. It's getting put back to next year. But I have scheduled, hopefully still for next month, November, I'm doing the Slaughterhouse with Doug Carnahan.
That house keeps coming up. The Slaughterhouse keeps coming up, and we're going to need to go there very soon.
Are you inviting us?
Because just to give you an idea of a slaughterhouse to me is going to be icky anyway, but it's supposed to be really, really active. We'll see.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what would you guys, what is on your, not bucket list, because you don't want to wait till you're dead, because then you'll still be so busy. But what's one of those I want to go to places that you have to get to?
For me, number one, no matter what, is Ohio State Penitentiary. I want to go there so bad. It's like calling me, something about that place. We just need to go there. How about you?
I'm real close to that, but I want to go to Alcatraz. I've got this strong like desire because that place is very unstable. Like there's a lot of activity, and I don't want to do a tour. I want the new reality, maybe even the haunted side, and a couple other groups that we know. Let's just cover that place. That's my number one.
Right.
That would be. I went there just as a tourist, just a tour, not even getting to be there by ourselves. You still feel it.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, looking down on you again. Very negative energy there.
Yeah, if you guys can get in there on your own or close to on your own, that'll be amazing. Because it is weird, because it's, again, energy around it. It's surrounded by, it's a rock, it's an island, it's in the middle of water. You can't.
Right.
It's
phenomenal.
Here standing on end. I love it. Sounds amazing.
I just want to get to more old places because I'm really thrilled. I'm doing a haunted tour of Ireland next May.
Oh, wow.
It's a Game of Thrones tour, and they're bringing me as the medium to do this. And because here we think, oh, wow, it's 100 years old. It's ancient. 200. We're a very new country. But you get over to Europe and Ireland and England and stuff. Last year, a couple years ago, I was in a castle in France, a castle in France, and it's a whole different set of ghosts. They don't speak English, all of them. This little stable boy, but I want to get. I haven't been far away enough to like Europe and stuff to get there. I went old, and in the U.S., I want to go to Gettysburg.
Oh, Gettysburg.
Oh, so I was just going to say that. Like, we were supposed to go there this last summer as a trip, but because of equipment and time, just getting back there, we weren't able to do that. But really, that's a great place because there's so much hauntings.
I want to get there.
Virginia.
In New Orleans, one of the old plantations, that was pretty interesting. And again, it wasn't even part of an official investigation, just got to wander around on my own. But there's another one, a plantation, I don't know the name of it, but Bridget Marcourt, you guys know Bridget, she did it. And there's this one room that I think things that happen crazy all the time. So I can't remember the name of it, but I want to go there really bad.
Let's do it. Yeah. Wow.
Well, Patti, when you go to Ireland, can we stash away in your suitcases?
Sure, come on down.
Because we're down.
Come on. It's going to be pretty, because the lady who runs it, if anybody, there's a few seats left and want to come. It's really reasonably priced. The lady who runs it is, and she's a native Irish woman. She sings Irish songs and knows Irish history. And we're not staying at like Sheratons or, modern things. We're staying at castles and old little B&Bs of little houses. And we're seeing the real Ireland and the haunted Ireland. So I'm going to be doing seances and mediumships and investigations and all these.
So how do we come with you? Because you said there's seats open. I'm down.
It's on all my social media.
Perfect.
May 13th through May 21, 2021. We got to get rid of all this virus stuff. They got to let us back in.
Right.
Well, May 21 is my birthday, and 21 is my number. So,
also, we always take trips in May. That's like we always take our big trips in May. So,
and what's funny is I got a reading in New York, Lilydale. Amazing place.
That's one of my bucket list places too.
It's amazing. You have to go. But I had a reading there, and this lady's like, "Yeah, you and this partner of yours, the new reality, you're going overseas, and you guys think that the stuff that you're dealing with here was hard. Wait until you get these guys." 1800s, 1600s, 1500s, barbaric people that didn't really understand divine. A different world.
They didn't understand anything. You guys should come.
We definitely should.
Oh my God, to have you guys on that trip with what you guys do and know.
Let's do it.
Oh my God, yes. But
sounds amazing.
Yeah, the castle I was in a couple of years ago in France. In France, was from the year 1200. It was the oldest one. They actually had a real moat. They had a place where if you got past the moat, you could pour hot oil on people if they got past the moat from the upper thing.
Holy
They had
crap.
a thing. It's not called a dungeon because once you get in, you can't get out. It has another name.
Oh, I forget.
Yeah, there is a name for it.
That's where you stay. You're done.
Yeah, that's where you stay. You're done. You know, there's just not a way out. It was this big, fancy castle, and they had literal seance room. There were several dining rooms, but one was made for a seance. It was a square table, which I loved. They literally, because I work the compass, the north, in the ancient, from 1200 stones, they had N for north, S for south, Ost for, I'm like, oh my God. And then it was really cool. Genevieve Bugeaud came. It's like, of course, I'm in France. Genevieve Bugeaud, I'm doing a seance in a castle. That was pretty cool. She just stopped
seemed
by
familiar, huh? It was like something you've done in your past life, right?
I guess. So again,
Absolutely.
you guys should come. So that's what I'm excited about because, I get excited when something's pre-1950.
Heck yeah. No, honestly,
it's like,
I think the oldest place that we've investigated so far was probably Virginia City, and that was like 1880s, right? Somewhere around that line. So yeah, no, to go investigate a freaking castle, sign me up.
Yeah, we're in. Anything we can do to make that happen, let's do it.
It's called Secret Ireland Tours, Patti Negri Haunted Tour, Patti Negri Haunted Tour, Game of Thrones Tour. We are going to a bunch of the Game of Thrones castles.
That's awesome. Yeah,
nice.
That's freaking amazing.
Can we stop at the Arthur Findlay College while we're in Europe, or?
Calm down. All right, we are getting close to the end. Why this hour flew? You guys are going to have to come back. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're excited. Yeah, why not?
Tell everybody where they could find you, your social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So the best place to find us is just go to our website, the newreality11.com. That has all of our social media on there, as well as our own podcast that we do. It's just called the New Realities Paranormal Podcast. So we do podcasts. Patti has actually been on there as well.
Yeah.
But yes, we're on YouTube. We're really trying to push our YouTube. We just got over 1,000 subscribers about 10 days ago. So that's phenomenal. That was a milestone Shawn and I really were trying to push, and we finally did that. So if you guys can go check us out, again, the newreality11.com, check us out. It's awesome.
You're going to start seeing more live streams with us because we find that people are really wanting to get the live feel. And so we working with the haunted side, they had some really good things that they were doing. We're going to try to implement similar things just because, again, we want our followers to be able to see the raw of our investigations.
That's awesome. So you guys, everybody check out Shawn and Cody of the New Reality, or New Reality 11. I like that. My name is Patti Negri. You, again, are listening to The Witching Hour. You can find me at pattinegri.com. All the social medias you can get there for Patti Negri, Patti.Negri on Instagram, Patti Negri on Twitter, Patti Negri Psychic Medium on Facebook. Like us, follow us. Please check out these guys' YouTube. It's really good. Their investigations are top notch. Anybody who is interested in looking at it, these are good guys to learn from. They're professional. Don't go in alone. Always have respect and know who you're going to figure out who you're going to call if you do get into trouble.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Patti.
Guys. Again, you
Love
will
you.
listen to The Witching Hour. Bye.
Take care.